Hey Kamal, apologies. I'm starting to come down with some sort of cold, or maybe I'm recovering from it. I can't tell. So I've took a look at your submission for the site analytics, and I've got an idea that I think might be able to help you. Because when I read this, when you start off with, Plausible is a lightweight script designed as an alternative to Google Analytics. It's smaller than Google Analytics. Blah blah blah. This actually isn't that helpful. Um, it's unnecessary. It does not. It's like explaining to somebody what Microsoft PowerPoint is. It's not additive to the point. So this sort of thing just does not really need to be there. And this bit down here where it's like also performs various campaigns. It's a valuable site without compromising user privacy. These things are all known. Again, it doesn't really add a whole lot to that. And so if we take that stuff out, there's a bit in here about setting up Plausible on indiereads.org. It already is. That's how you know that there's already data there. This is a bit repetitive in here. So this portion also doesn't probably need to really be in there. So that kind of leaves this chunk in here. Their mission, when you say when you start talking about Plausible is, this lightweight thing, Plausible is, their mission is to empower individuals through comprehensive educational programs and community engagement. That's not Plausible, that's Indie Reads. And so that's what we would consider an unclear pronoun in there. And so to design a program needs basic reading and writing skills to focus on, prepare students to obtain higher grades in their studies. These are a little disjointed. The financial overview of Indie Reads reported unique visitors, 46% total visits. I don't really know where the financial overview of this is. There's not really a financial report within Plausible. For example, if post download is slow, then create more to improve the data or post. I don't know that I know what that means. I think what you're saying is that there needs, if the page is slow, then create more pages to improve that, I think is what you're trying to get at, but that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So here's what I think that you can do. I got a little ChatGPT window up over here, and I'm going to give it a prompt. And I've been tasked with reviewing website analytics and making recommendations for indiereads.org. I'll give you a copy of the text, and I want you to identify areas that are unclear, areas for improvement, identify areas that conflict, help me improve the grammar and structure of the document, and ensure that I'm providing clear and compelling ideas. Okay? And I'm just going to take the two parts here. So I'm going to give it this, and then it's going to confirm, and then I'm going to copy this portion is 2. Now, as it's doing this, it's taking your text and utilizing that in some way. Now, these numbers may be accurate. I didn't pull up the numbers here. But see, here's the thing. The financial overview, that still doesn't make any sense. There is no financial overview of Indie Reads. When you look at the Plausible report, what we're looking for here is I'm trying to see that there is some ideas in play about ways that you could improve the site. Okay. Now, what ChatGPT has generated here is certainly easier to read. And I think it is true to what you were originally trying to get at: improve visual data representation, utilize charts and infographics to make data more engaging and easier to understand. When you look at Plausible and you look at some of the hints that I gave you, so like if you click on a source in Plausible, like Google, it'll show you the keywords people search in Google to get to the site. There are a lot of what's called branded searches. Seems problematic. Okay, so if I come over here and I click on source Google, what I'm searching for is Indie Reads, or what people are searching for is Indie Reads, Indie book crawl, Indie Reads books, so forth. I gave the hint in here that there are a lot of what's called branded searches. And so if you look at this and you think, okay, well, what's a branded search? A branded search is a search engine query that includes the name of your brand, service, or product. Branded search traffic occurs when potential customers use specific keywords that directly mention the company or product. So another example of this might be, Domino's Pizza. You do a search for Domino's Pizza. That's the name of the search that gets you to Domino's.com, right? An alternative to that might be searching for pizza, just general pizza, right? Because that could give you Pizza Hut or Papa John's or Domino's, right? And so my hope was that you might take some opportunity here to sort of Google into this a little bit and understand, like, for example, what is a branded search and is that problematic? I will give you the hint that yes, having a bunch of branded searches like this is problematic, because what that requires is that people have to know what Indie Reads is. They're not actually doing searches for things like learn English skills or English language and writing literacy skills, or learn to read English, learn to write in English, like these sorts of things, right? Because that's what Indie Reads does. They help adults who do not speak English as a second language be able to improve their literacy skills. It is a little alarming that the search queries that are here are just people doing searches for Indie Reads, because what that tells me is that people who are doing searches for things that they actually provide, like being able to, have an adult literacy language course, that they just don't even show up. And there's a reason for that, because if you go looking at indiereads.org and you compare it with some of the things that we've been talking about in terms of headings and page content, a lot of these things don't actually say learn to read English, learn to write better in English, or improve English literacy skills, improve English language skills, all these sorts of things. They just don't appear on this website. And so that could be a potential place that you could use to improve the site. The people that Indie Reads supports are low literacy by definition, because they cannot read English, or they have almost no English skills and frequently can't speak or understand any English at all. So how then are they getting help? Those of you who are first generation English speakers in a household likely understand helping your parents as one example here. So it's probably other family members, probably children, could be grandchildren, that are helping people find adult literacy courses. And so if you think about that for a second, you're like, well, now hang on a second. Who are the people actually looking at this website? Well, it's not necessarily people who can't read English, because how would they have gotten there really to begin with? No, it's probably social workers, it's government workers, it's family members who are helping them try to, connect with the services that Indie Reads offers. You can see a little bit about this when you start looking at things like the programs pages. And so if you click on any of these, if you click on the little icon that has the little arrow that juts out of it, it will actually take you directly to the page at Indie Reads that is about this particular service. They're very simple pages, right? And there's just not a whole lot here. And some of that is because they have requested it to be that way. And so what I'm looking for from you is, what are some recommendations to improve some of these things? You are not wrong about some of this, about improving visual data representation, infographics, making things easier to read and understand. I'm looking for a little bit more. And I'm looking to see if you can maybe go through this list of ideas that's down here and make some recommendations based off of these specific questions. Okay. Here's another one. Bing is the third most prominent source of traffic ahead of Facebook. That seems unusual, because who are the people that are using Bing? I'll tell you that the people who use Bing are the people who tend to work either in large corporate environments, the elderly, or people who work in government, because they have a computer sort of supplied to them, or in the case of grandma, the computer just sort of shows up because she goes to the Best Buy and just buys whatever's there. They don't change the default. And Bing is the default search engine for that. And so if Bing is the third most prominent source of traffic, even ahead of Facebook, that could be an indication that a lot of the people who are doing searches to get to indie reads are people who don't um, utilize. They're people who don't necessarily change the dates, the defaults rather. Sorry, this cold's getting to me. So that's what I'm looking for. Utilize ChatGPT to help you sort of lay this out, because when you write a memo that looks sort of like this is a little hard to read, precisely because of the fact that it's just kind of one big block of text. It doesn't necessarily tell me anything that I don't already know. I don't need to know about what Plausible is versus Google Analytics. It's already on the website. It's a technical matter, and we don't need to talk about it. And so see if you can maybe utilize ChatGPT to be able to help you push on these different ideas better, because once you've done something like this, you could ask it questions like, is there anything I should be thinking about regarding website analytics reporting to help improve this memo? Instead of just listing percentages, briefly explain what each metric means and why it matters. This stuff is generally all right. How to improve, provide a comparison or an industry benchmark. Average bounce rate for nonprofit sites is 40 to 60%, making indie reads 4% rate exceptionally low. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I've never heard that before, but maybe. Define some goals, segment user behavior. Right now, this is correct. The memo treats all website visitors the same. However, there are many different users who have different needs, like new visitors versus returning visitors. Yeah, this stuff is useful. This can potentially help you make this a lot better. So lean into that a little bit to help improve that. Take out these bits in gray here because they're not really adding a whole lot, and see if we can't flesh this out a little bit more.